picture this with me for a second. Just close your eyes. If you're not driving, close your eyes. It's 2013. You're sitting in a dark theater. You've been watching what you thought was a pretty standard Disney princess movie. There's a girl, there's a prince, there's a magical kingdom, there's a big dramatic climax happening, and Anna is fading. She is literally turning to ice from the inside out. Her body is freezing. She can barely move. And Kristoff is running toward her, her one true love, running across the frozen fjord. He's running as fast as he can. And you're sitting there in your seat thinking, okay, here it comes. True love's kiss. He's going to get there just in time. He's going to kiss her. She's going to thaw. Disney does this every single time. I know how this ends. And Anna sees Kristoff running toward her. She sees him. He's right there. All she has to do is keep walking toward him. All she has to do is let him save her. Just let it happen. And she lives. But then she hears something behind her. She hears the sound of a sword being drawn. She turns around and she sees Hans raising his blade above Elsa, who is crumbled on the ice, sobbing, completely broken, completely vulnerable. And Elsa doesn't even see it coming. And in that moment, in that one fraction of a second, Anna makes a choice. She doesn't go to Kristoff. She doesn't go to the kiss that will save her life. She turns away from her own salvation, and she throws herself between Hans and Elsa, and she freezes solid. And the theater went silent. I mean silent. I have never experienced a silence like that in a movie theater in my life, because every single person in that audience realized at the exact same moment, oh my goodness gracious, that's the act of true love. It was never the kiss. It was never the romance. It was a sister choosing to save her other sister. And Disney, the company that spent 80 years telling us that true love means a prince showing up, Disney looked us dead in the eye and said, you thought you knew what true love was? You had no idea. You had no idea. That moment broke me, and I need to talk about it, because that moment didn't just change a movie. It changed all of animation, and it changed me. That's the day I believed in Disney again. Oh yeah, it goes that deep, and we're going to get into it, okay? So, listen in with Lindsey. Well, I guess I should introduce myself first. Hey everyone, welcome back to Listen In with Lindsey. I'm your host, Lindsey. I am an award-winning voice actress, singer, animation nerd, Disney enthusiast, and the person who has been waiting to do this episode for honestly years. If you're new here, this is a show where I go deep on the animated characters, movies, and music that shaped us. I'm not here for surface level takes. I'm not here to just recap a movie you've already seen. I'm here because I have spent over a decade working in animation and voice acting. I've got Netflix credits. I've worked with WildBrain, worked on Caillou, won awards, all of it. And I think about this stuff differently because I've been on the inside of how these stories get made. Am I being dramatic? Just quite possibly. But hey, look at the profession I'm in. And today we are talking about Frozen, but not the way you've heard people talk about Frozen before. Oh, no. That's not what we do here. I'm not here to tell you Let It Go is a good song. You know it's a good song. The entire planet knows it's a good song. I'm not here to debate whether Olaf is annoying or charming. He's charming, okay? Just deal with it. And I'm definitely not here to compare Frozen 1 to Frozen 2. That's a whole separate episode. I'll put a link in the description, duh. And yes, I have opinions, and yes, they're awesome, so what else is new? What I am here to talk about is something that I think doesn't get enough credit, oh no, and that is this. Frozen fundamentally, permanently, irreversibly changed the way animated movies tell love stories. And it did it by doing something Disney had never done in 80 years of filmmaking. It made the central love story about two sisters. Not sisters and a prince. Not sisters with a romance on the side that ends up being the real point. The sisters are the point. The sisters are the whole movie. The romance is the subplot. The sisterly love is the thing that literally cannot, well, it narratively saves the day and breaks the curse. That's just the nuts and bolts of it. And here's why this matters to me personally. And I'm going to get really vulnerable with you, as I do later in the episode. So buckle up, Buttercups. This was the movie that made me believe in Disney magic again. I had gotten cynical. A lot of us had. And Frozen cracked that cynicism wide open. It made me feel like a little kid sitting in front of the TV watching The Little Mermaid Pocahontas for the first time. So let's get into it. Let's go back to the beginning, because to understand why Frozen was revolutionary, you have to understand what came before it, okay? Lots and lots of lore. So, there's 80 years of true love's kiss. That's the Disney romantic formula. Everybody knows it since Snow White. Let's do a little history, because Disney didn't just stumble into the true love's kiss formula. They built it. They built it brick by brick over 8 decades. And it became so embedded in our culture that most of us didn't even question it. It was just like a thing. You got 1937 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's the very first Disney animated feature film. And what happens? Snow White eats a poisoned apple, falls into a deep sleep, and the only thing that can save her is, say it with me, true love's kiss. A prince she met one time shows up, kisses her while she's unconscious, which, we can talk about the consent issue there another day, and she wakes up and they ride off into the sunset. Love conquers all. A man's love, specifically a romantic love, that is the template. That is minute 0 of Disney's animated legacy. I like Snow White, though. It's entertaining. It was groundbreaking. We go to 1959, Sleeping Beauty. Same thing. Aurora pricks her finger, falls asleep. Prince Philip fights a dragon, kisses her. She wakes up. True love's kiss again. Again, this woman is unconscious and passive. The man is the active hero. Romantic love is the most powerful force in the universe. Okay, got it. Cool. I like Sleeping Beauty, though. The animation, pristine. Now, I want to be fair. Disney evolved. They absolutely evolved. The Little Mermaid in 1989, Ariel has way more agency than Snow White or Aurora. But I like Snow White and Aurora. Let's not get it twisted. Okay, Ariel, she makes a choice. She pursues what she wants. She's active. But what does she want, Eric? What saves the day? Love between Ariel and Eric. What breaks the spell? Their relationship. And the fact that he's not under a curse, falling for Ursula as a human. Beauty and the Beast, 1991, and I love this movie. I genuinely love this movie. Belle is brilliant. She's brave. She's a reader. She's independent. But what breaks the Beast's curse? Belle's love. Romantic love. I love you breaks the spell with literally seconds to spare. And look, it's beautiful. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's the same story. It's the same engine driving every single one of these movies. But I love it. I miss it. They haven't done it in a while. Love between a man and a woman. Romance. That's what saves the day every single time. Let's go to Aladdin and Jasmine. Okay? Their love is central. Pocahontas, the love story is the story. But, there's a different ending. Tangled. Rapunzel and Flynn. Even The Princess and the Frog, which does so many things right with Tiana's ambition and work ethic. Ultimately, the spell breaks because of, a romantic kiss. And they could have made her, like, a frog with less screen time, like make her more human. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but what do I know? All right, so, but the point is that it's always the romantic love. That's a philosophy that Disney's saying over and over and over again. This is the most important kind of love there is, or at least the love they focus on. And for a long time that worked. It worked because those movies were genuinely great. They're so great that we miss it now because the pendulum has swung in the other direction. But, going back to the basics, the music was incredible. The animation was breathtaking. The characters were memorable and the formula was comforting. You knew what you were going to get. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, love saves the day, roll credits, bada bing, bada boom, we're done. But here's the thing about formulas. Here's why this matters. When you use the same formula for 80 years, eventually people start to see through it. Eventually the magic starts to feel mechanical. Eventually the audience starts sitting in the theater going, okay, I know exactly where this is going. She's going to fall in love with him. He's going to kiss her. The curse breaks. The end. Bada bing, bada boom, we're done. Let's get out of here. I've enjoyed my popcorn already. And by 2013, that's exactly where we were. And look, I want to be really clear. I am not trashing these movies because I love Disney. I grew up on this. I love these movies. Beauty and the Beast, first movie I ever saw. It's my top 5 Disney films of all time. The Little Mermaid is the reason I wanted to sing for a living. Her voice, epic. These are masterpieces, but even masterpieces can become a template. Even the best story in the world becomes predictable if you tell it the same way for 80 years. And Disney was about to prove that. They knew that too. You know what I'm saying? So, why did Disney feel stale? Let me paint the picture of where Disney animation was in 2013, because I think people forget this. We talk about Frozen now like it was this guaranteed smash hit. Like, of course it made $1 billion. Like, of course it became a cultural phenomenon. But that was not the vibe going into that movie's release. Not even close. Disney Animation Studios had been in a weird spot. They'd had some hits. Tangled did well, I guess. Wreck-It Ralph did well. But they were still kind of living in Pixar's shadow. Pixar was the one making the groundbreaking stuff. Pixar was the one getting all the animation as high art think pieces. Disney Animation was seen as the more traditional, more formulaic studio, okay? And the broader culture was getting cynical about princess movies. Although if you look at the culture now, we're missing it. So pendulum swings, it is what it is. There was this growing conversation about what Disney princess movies were teaching girls. Were they teaching girls to wait for a prince? Were they teaching girls that their value was tied to romance? Were they reinforcing outdated ideas about what happily ever after looks like? And these were legitimate questions. These were important questions, but what it meant practically was that a lot of adults, a lot of parents, a lot of cultural commentators, a lot of people, my age who had grown up on Disney were kind of rolling their eyes at the whole princess thing. Everyone except me. I always love princesses. Anyway, I digress. Oh, another Disney princess movie, they would say. Let me guess, she falls in love, gets rescued, lives happily ever after. That was the energy. Frozen was marketed as a pretty standard Disney princess movie too. The trailers mostly showed Olaf doing funny stuff and some action sequences. It looked fun, it looked fine, but nobody, and I mean nobody, was sitting there in November 2013 going, I bet this movie is going to fundamentally restructure how animated films handle love stories for the next decade. Nobody saw what was coming. And that's part of what makes it so brilliant. Disney didn't announce that they were subverting their formula. They didn't do a press tour saying, hey, we're deconstructing the princess movie this time. They just did it. They let the movie do the talking. They set the trap and they sprung it. And the trap starts with Hans. Oh, that Hans. But before I get to that, if you're enjoying this deep dive, go ahead and, hit that like button. Right now, it really does help the algorithm show this to other Disney fans. And if you're not subscribed yet, hey, what are you doing? Come on. You know you want to. I'll be here when you get back, okay? Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about Hans now. So, he comes off as Prince Charming, doesn't he? Well, that's the Hans setup. It's Disney's greatest misdirect. The red herring. Does he have red hair? Possibly, I forget. Okay, let's talk about Hans, because the Hans twist is, in my opinion, one of the greatest narrative misdirects in the history of animated film, and I don't say that lightly. I mean, they finish each other's sandwiches. I've watched a lot of animated films. When Anna meets Hans at the coronation, it feels like a classic Disney meet cute. It's charming, it's adorable. They finish each other's sandwiches, as I said. They sing Love is an Open Door, which is a banger, by the way. It's catchy, it's romantic, it's got that Disney duet energy that makes you want to grab someone's hand and twirl around a courtyard. And here's the genius. Everything about that sequence is designed to make you think you're watching the real love story. Every Disney instinct you have, every pattern your brain has learned from decades of Disney movies is telling you, this is the guy. This is the prince. This is true love. They met. They sang a duet. They got engaged in one night. That's how Disney works. That's the formula. And Disney is counting on you to make that assumption. They are counting on your muscle memory. They've spent 80 years, after all, training you to expect this. And now they're using that training against you. Oh, those sneaksters. Because when Hans reveals himself, when he leans in close to Anna, and she's, fading, and she whispers, please, a kiss, true love's kiss. And he gets close to her face and says, oh, Anna, If only there was someone out there who loved you. That moment, that moment was savage. I remember the collective gasp in my theater. I remember it like it was yesterday because it wasn't just a villain reveal. It was Disney telling you that you were wrong, that you fell for it, that the formula you trusted, the pattern you relied on, the prince you believed in, it was a lie. And Disney was the one who taught you to believe in that lie in the first place. That's so Disney. That is so self-aware. Disney is essentially saying, we created this trope, we reinforced it for 8 decades, and now we're going to show you why it was always incomplete. That takes guts. That takes a studio willing to look at its own legacy and say, we can do better. We should do better. But here's what people don't talk about enough. The Hans twist doesn't work if the alternative isn't better. If the movie just replaced one romance with another, if Kristoff was just a different version of Prince Charming, then the twist is clever but not meaningful. What makes Frozen revolutionary isn't that it said, this romance was fake. It's what it replaced the romance with. It replaced it with sisters, sisterly love. And that changes everything because, hey, sisterhood. What? The real love story was always Elsa and Anna. Okay, theory time. And this is a take I feel really strongly about. So if you disagree, tell me in the comments, but be nice about it. Okay, and hear me out first. I believe that Frozen is, from its very first frame to its very last, a love story between the two sisters. Not a story about a princess who happens to have a sister. Not a story where the sister relationship is one element among many. The entire movie, every single plot point, every song, every character choice exists in service of the relationship between Elsa and Anna. Everything else is secondary, an afterthought. Think about it. What is the inciting incident of the movie? Not a villain, not a curse from an outside force. It's an accident between two sisters. Young Elsa accidentally hurts young Anna with her powers. That's it. That's the thing that sets everything in motion. The trolls erase Anna's memories of Elsa's magic. The king and queen close the castle gates, and Elsa, a little girl, a child, is told that she needs to hide who she is from the person she loves most in the world, her sister Anna. And here's what breaks my heart about the setup. It breaks my heart every time. Elsa doesn't shut Anna out because she doesn't love her. She shuts Anna out because she loves her so much. She is terrified of hurting Anna again. Every time she closes that door, every time she puts the gloves on, every time she says, go away, Anna, she's not being cold. She's being protective. She loves Anna so much that she'd rather lose her than risk hurting her. And Anna doesn't understand any of that, okay? All Anna knows is that one day her sister was her best friend, her favorite person, her whole world. And the next day, the door was closed. And it stayed closed for years. Anna doesn't know about the magic. She doesn't know about the accident. She just knows that her sister stopped loving her, or at least that's what it feels like. And so Anna spends the entire movie trying to get back to her sister. That's her real motivation. It's not Hans. It's not Kristoff. It's not even saving Arendelle from the eternal winter. It's Elsa. She wants Elsa back. I know, you're in there. That's what she says. I know you're in there. She says it to a closed door when they're children. She says it as a philosophy for the entire movie. I know the real Elsa's in there. I know my sister is in there. And I'm not giving up until I find her. Talk about persistence. Now let's talk about their dynamic because it's so specific and so real and so brilliantly drawn. Anna is relentlessly optimistic. She's clumsy, she's chatty, she's open, she rushes into things headfirst. She trusts too easily. Yes, she trusts too easily, and the Hans thing proves it. But she trusts too easily because she's desperate for connection. She grew up in a castle with closed doors and, parents that are gone, sad, and a sister who won't look at her. Of course she falls for the first person who pays attention to her. That's not stupidity, that's loneliness. And Elsa is fear. Elsa is anxiety. Elsa is the weight of responsibility and the terror of your own power and the bone deep belief that you are dangerous to the people you love. Conceal, don't feel, right? That's not just a mantra, that's a survival strategy for someone who has been told that her authentic self is a threat. And here's why this matters. Here's why this is better than a romance. Because this dynamic, the optimist and the protector, the one who reaches out and the one who pulls away, the one who says, let me in, and the one who says, I can't, I'll hurt you. That is a universal human experience. That's not just about sisters. That's about every relationship where one person is open and the other is guarded. That's about family. That's about the people who hurt us most because we love them most. That's about the doors we close to protect people and how those closed doors feel from the other side. It's really, really deep. Now, let's think about it. No romance could have carried that weight. Not in the same way, because romance in Disney has an inherent fantasy element to it. We know real love doesn't usually work like Disney love, but family, sibling dynamics, the pain of being shut out by someone you love, that is real. That hits different because every single person in that audience has felt it. Yes. Do you want to build a snowman? The most heartbreaking Disney song. Okay, I need to talk about the song because I genuinely believe Do You Want to Build a Snowman is the most heartbreaking song Disney has ever written. And yes, I know that's a big statement. I know Baby Mine exists. I know When She Loved You exists. I know Remember Me exists. I stand by it. Here's why. This song takes place over the course of like 15 years in a 3.5 minute, song. We watch Anna age from a tiny little girl to a teenager, and every single verse is the same thing. She goes to Elsa's door, she knocks, and she asks her sister to play with her, like the good old days. The first verse, Anna's maybe 5 or 6, and it's adorable. It's playful. Do you want to build a snowman? Come on, let's go and play. She's bouncing around. She's silly. She's a little kid who misses her big sister. And you hear hope in her voice, real, genuine, uncomplicated hope. She thinks Elsa will come out. She thinks today might be the day. Second verse, she's older, maybe like 9 or 10, and the hope is still there. But now it's tinged with something else. She's starting to feel the loneliness. I think some company is overdue. She's starting, I think some company is overdue, right? That's when she starts talking to the paintings on the wall where she's like, hang in there, Joan. She's riding her bike through the empty halls. The kid is alone in a castle with a sister who won't speak to her, and she is desperately trying to stay positive. And you can hear the effort it takes. And then the third verse, and this is the one that destroys me every single time. Anna's maybe like 15 or 16. Her parents have just passed away. She is standing outside Elsa's door, and her voice is small. And she says, Elsa, please, I know you're in there. People are asking where you've been. They say have courage, and I'm trying to. I'm right out here for you. Just let me in. I can barely say those words without getting emotional, honestly, because what she's saying is, I have lost everything. Our parents are gone. You are the only family I have left. I am begging you. I am on my knees outside your door, begging you to let me in. Not to save the world, not to break a curse, just to not be alone and to not go through such a hard, traumatic event alone. And then you hear her slide down the door and sit on the floor, and Elsa is doing the exact same thing on the other side. They are sitting back to back on either side of the same door, and they are both crying, and neither of them knows the other one is right there. Oh my gosh, brilliant animation. And as like a VO gal myself, I need to point something out here. The way they aged Anna's voice across those 3 verses is a masterclass in vocal storytelling. The child voice is bright and bouncy and high. The middle verse is a little lower, a little more wistful. And the final verse, that final verse is spoken almost in a whisper. It's small, it's fragile. It sounds like someone who has been brave for so long that they're running out of bravery within themselves. That is voice acting at the highest level. Kristen Bell. That is telling an entire life story through subtle changes, you know, in a single character voice. And here's what destroys me about the song's placement in the movie. It happens in the first act. Disney puts the most devastating song in the first act. Why do you do this to me? Before the coronation, before the winter, before any of the adventure starts. Because they want you to understand. They need you to understand what is at stake in this movie. The stakes aren't, will the winner end? The stakes aren't, will the villain be defeated? The stakes are, will these two sisters find each other again? That's it. That's the whole movie. And every time Anna reaches out, every time she chases Elsa up the North Mountain, every time she refuses to give up, every time she says, I'm not leaving without you, she's still that little girl outside the door. She's still building a snowman and hoping her sister will come out and play. Oh my Jeebus. Like, that is crazy. You know, that's the moment that changed everything. Here's like a full breakdown of it, okay? We talked about this moment in the cold open, but now I want to really dig into it because the climax of Frozen is one of the most structurally perfect sequences in Disney animation history, and I want you to understand exactly why it works so very well. So let's set the scene. Anna has been stuck in the heart, or struck in the heart by Elsa's ice magic when they were kids. She is freezing from the inside out. The trolls have told her parents that only an act of true love can save her. And at this point in the movie, everyone, you know, Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, and the entire audience assumes that means true love's kiss because that's what it's always meant in every Disney movie ever. True love equals romantic love equals a kiss of true love. See how it all goes together? Kristoff rushes Anna back to Arendelle so that Hans can kiss her, but Hans betrays her. He's not the true love. He never was. He's the villain. And so now Olaf figures it out. He says, Kristoff loves you. And Anna realizes, yes, Kristoff. Kristoff is the one who actually cares about her. He's the one who dragged her up a mountain and fought wolves and dealt with her nonsense because he genuinely loves her. So Kristoff is the answer. True love's kiss from Kristoff. He's running across the frozen fjord. She just needs to get to him. And Disney is doing something so clever here. They've already subverted the formula once with Hans. And the audience has adjusted. The audience is now thinking, okay, the real true love is Kristoff, not Hanzo. I guess some of us were wrong. Oh, well. I get it. Kristoff was the true love all along. Nice twist. Haha, Disney. And they're settling back into their seats, ready for the kiss. Disney has tricked you not once, but twice. Count them. 1, 2, twice. First, they tricked you into thinking Hans was the love interest. Wrong. Then, after revealing Hans was fake, they tricked you into thinking the movie was about finding the real romantic love interest. Oh, it's not Hans, it's Kristoff. Oh, got it. The audience thinking they figured it all out. But they haven't, because Anna sees Hans about to destroy Elsa, and she has a choice: go to Kristoff and live, or go to Elsa and perish. She chooses Elsa. She loves Elsa that much. She doesn't even hesitate. She doesn't weigh the options. She doesn't have a dramatic internal monologue. She just goes. She throws her frozen body between the sword and her sister, and she freezes solid. And the act of true love, the thing that reverses the curse, the thing that thaws the frozen heart, isn't a kiss, it's sacrifice. It's a sister choosing to sacrifice herself so her other sister can live. It's the most profound statement about love that Disney has ever made. True love isn't about what you receive, it's about what you're willing to give up. And then Elsa, who has spent her entire life terrified that her love is dangerous, that her touch, destroys, that she destroys everything she cares about. Elsa holds her frozen sister and she breaks. She finally lets herself feel. She sobs, and her tears, not a kiss, not a magic word, but grief and love and the raw refusal to let go. Her love thaws Anna. Love thaws. Love thaws. Not romance, not a kiss, love. The genius of this moment is that it answers every question the movie has been asking. Can Elsa control her powers? Yes, through love, not fear. Can Anna reach her sister? Yes, not by forcing the door open, but by proving that nothing Not even, being gone will make her abandon Elsa. Is true love real? Yes, and it's been right there the whole time under our noses. It was never behind a closed door. It was the girl who kept knocking. That is, and I will stand on this hill, the single greatest narrative payoff in Disney animation history. And can we also appreciate that Olaf, his funny little comic relief snowman Olaf, is the one who gives us the thematic key to the whole movie. When he's sitting with Anna by the fire and she asks him what love is, and he says, love is putting someone else's needs before yours. That's it. That's the whole movie in one sentence. And Olaf says it casually, like it's obvious, because it is obvious. We've just been trained to forget it. And we've been trained by 80 years of Disney movies to think love is a kiss. And this little snowman who has existed for maybe, 12 hours understands love better than almost anyone in the movie, okay? I love that. I love that so much. It was really groundbreaking, and I could just remember myself in that seat just appreciating that moment so much. So let's get into how Frozen changed all of animation after it. Here's why this matters beyond just one movie. Here's why Frozen isn't just a great film, it's a turning point, because after Frozen, everything changed. The pendulum swung in the opposite direction. Look at the Disney and Pixar movies that came after 2013. Look at where the love stories went. Moana, 2016. No love interest. None. Zero. Maui is not a love interest. The ocean is not a love interest. Moana's story is about her relationship with her grandmother, her ancestors, and herself. The movie never even hints at romance, and that would have been almost unthinkable for a Disney princess movie before Frozen. A princess movie with no prince, no love interest at all. Frozen opened that door. Inside Out, 2015, Pixar. The entire movie is about the emotions inside an 11-year-old girl's head. And the climax, the emotional climax that resolves everything, is about sadness. It's about a child being allowed to be sad and being held by her parents. Family love, not romance. Brave, which actually came out 1 year before Frozen in 2012, it was actually pushing in this direction. It's about a mother-daughter relationship, and the curse is about their broken bond, not a romance gone wrong. But Brave was Pixar, and it was seen as more of an outlier. Frozen, coming from Disney animation proper, coming from the Princess Movie Factory, was the one that mainstreamed it. Coco, 2017, the whole movie is about a boy's relationship with his family, specifically his great-great-grandmother. The climax is Miguel singing Remember Me to Mama Coco. Family love saves the day. Encanto, 2021, the Madrigal family is the entire movie. The climax is Mirabel and Abuela reconciling. The cracks in the house are caused by family trauma, and they're healed by family honesty. No romance, no kiss, a grandmother and a granddaughter standing in a river telling the truth. Turning red. I didn't see it, but from what I read, it's a girl and her mother. The red panda is a metaphor for growing up, and the climax is about a mother accepting her daughter as she is. And that's, again, family love, generational healing. Wish. I didn't get to see that either, but it came out in 2023, and whatever else you think about Wish, and I have thoughts, the love story is not romantic. It's about a community. It's about a girl and her people. Do you see the pattern? Do you see what happened? After Frozen proved with $1 billion at the box office that audiences didn't need romantic love to feel satisfied, that family love and self-love and platonic love were just as powerful, just as moving, just as commercially viable, the floodgates opened. But I fear the pendulum's about to swing back in, which it's fine. We need a balance. It wasn't just Disney. DreamWorks shifted too. Look at The Bad Guys. It's about friendship. Look at Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. The emotional core is about Puss learning to value his own life and his friendships, not a romance. Even Sony's Spider-Verse movies, Miles' relationship with his parents, particularly his father, is the emotional engine of those films. Frozen gave the entire animation industry permission to tell different kinds of love stories. It proved that the prince wasn't necessary. It proved that happily ever after It could look like two sisters hugging on a bridge instead of a couple riding into the sunset. And I genuinely believe that if you lined up every animated movie made in the last 10 years and looked at what kind of love saves the day, you'd see a dramatic shift from romantic love to family love, friend love, self-love, and that shift has a point of origin, and that point of origin is Anna throwing herself in front of a sword to save her sister. This really changes everything. It changes everything, and I think history will remember Frozen as one of the most important turning points of the entire history of animation storytelling. Not because of Let It Go, not because of the merchandise, because of what it said about love. It's deep, it's profound, it's groundbreaking. It went there, and we all felt it. Why this movie made me believe again. Personal story time, okay? I told you I was going to get vulnerable, and I meant it, so here we go. I need to tell you guys something. Before Frozen, I was losing my faith in Disney. I know, shocker. And that's a hard thing for me to admit, because Disney is Disney. It's foundational to who I am. I grew up on these movies. I didn't just watch them. I lived them. I sang every song. I knew every word. I pretended to be every princess. I was an annoying Disney kid. Disney is part of the reason I became a voice actress. It is the reason, okay? Literally, these movies showed me what voices could do, what animation could be, what storytelling could make you feel. Okay, Disney is my DNA. But by 2013, I was tired. I was so tired of the same story. I was tired of watching it. I was like, I need something new, something brilliant, complex, interesting female characters get reduced to. I'm tired of seeing that. And then she found her prince. I was so tired of the formula. I still watched every Disney movie, obviously, because I'm me. But I watched them with this little wall up, this little protective cynicism that was like, yeah, it's fine. It's a Disney movie. I know what's going to happen. And I hated that I felt that way. I hated that the magic felt dim. Okay, we needed a change back then. And I remember going to see Frozen. I remember the first act, and I remember thinking it was good. It was charming. Sure, I missed 2D animation, but the music was great. Olaf was funny, but I had my wall up. I was watching it like a professional, like a critic, not like the little girl who used to sit up on the living room floor and cry during part of your world, all right? And then that climax happened. Anna turned away from Kristoff, and she threw herself in front of Elsa, and the whole theater gasped, and my wall came plunging down. It just crumbled, like Elsa's ice palace cracking, like the frozen fjord thawing. Something inside me that had been frozen, God, the metaphor is right there. Something inside me that had just been frozen for years just melted away, and I cried. I teared up. I didn't get I got misty. I cried full, ugly, shoulders shaking, crying in a crowded movie theater surrounded by children. I'm sure the 5-year-old next to me was very concerned. And the reason I cried, and this is the part that's hard to say out loud, the reason I cried is because family love is everything to me. The love I have for the people in my life, the family, the bonds I have with people I grew up with, the relationships that have shaped me and held me together through the hardest moments of my life. Those are the most important things I have, not romance, not career success, not awards, my people, my family. And I had watched Disney movies my entire life and had loved them, but I had never seen Disney say that. I had never seen Disney say that love that matters most isn't the love story. The love that matters most is the love that was there before the story started. The love between people who share a story, who share a childhood, who share blood. The love that doesn't need a meet cute or a duet or a first kiss because it's been there since day one. When Anna saves Elsa, it wasn't just a plot twist. It was Disney finally validating the kind of love that I had always believed was the most powerful, and I needed that. I didn't know I needed it until it happened, but I needed it so very badly, because here's the thing. Society tells us that romantic love is the big one, Movies, TV, music, books, everything tells us that finding the one is the ultimate goal, the ultimate love story. You see, the ultimate happy ending. And romantic love is beautiful and important, and I'm not dismissing it. Okay, it has its place and I miss it. We haven't had one in a while, but it has always bothered me, especially during that time when we didn't get all of this. It always sat wrong in my gut that we treat it as the only kind of love that gets the big dramatic moments, the only kind of love that gets the sweeping orchestral score and the cinematic scenes, and that I would give it all up for you declaration. What about the love between siblings? What about the love between parents and children? What about the love between best friends who have been through everything together? Why doesn't that love get the big moments? Why doesn't that love get to save the world? Okay, Frozen said it does, it can, it will. Right now, watch this. And I believed again. I believed in Disney magic again. Not the magic of fairy dust and glass slippers and midnight deadlines, the real magic. The magic of story that can make a grown woman in a movie theater feel seen for the first time in years. The magic of a studio brave enough to look at its own legacy and say, we've been telling you love means one thing. We were wrong. Love means so much more. And that's why I'm making this episode. That's why this matters to me. And that's why every single time I watch that scene, and I've watched it, I don't know, probably like 50 bajillion times at this point, I still cry every single time. And you know what? I think a lot of you feel the same way. I think a lot of you are sitting there right now nodding, or maybe your eyes are getting a little wet because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have that person in your life, that sister, that brother, that parent, that friend who is your Anna. Or maybe you're, I don't know, someone's Anna, okay? Both can be good. Maybe you're the one who keeps knocking. If you are, don't stop. Please don't. The door will open. It did for Elsa and Anna. Okay, I need to pull myself together because I still have more to cover. Professional mode, professional hat on. Let's go. Let's do this. Gonna sit up. All right. Let's give a voice acting deep dive on Belle and Menzel's vocal chemistry. Okay, I need to put my professional hat on for a minute because I've been talking about story and emotion and theme, and all of that is crucial, yes. But as a voice actress, I also need to talk about the performances because the story of Frozen only works if you believe these two women are sisters. And Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel make you believe it. They make you believe in magic. Here's something that a lot of people outside the industry don't realize about voice acting for animation. You are usually recording alone. You're in a booth by yourself. Your scene partner is not in the room. You are acting in opposite or nothing, or sometimes opposite a line reading that was recorded weeks ago. And you have to create chemistry with a person who isn't there. Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel, as far as I know, recorded most of their sessions separately. I don't want to speculate. We'll just say allegedly. Let's just pretend that's the case, which means the sister dynamic, the push and pull, the warmth and the distance, they had to build that independently and trust that it would fit together. That requires an incredible amount of skill and an incredible amount of trust in the director. And both of them delivered on a level that honestly sets a standard for the industry. Yeah, everybody take notes. Let me break down what each of them does vocally because it's masterful. That's the only way to describe it. Kristen Bell as Anna, listen to her voice, really listen to it. It's warm, it's slightly nasal, it's got this quality that sounds like, and I mean this as the highest compliment, it sounds like a golden retriever got turned into a person. It's enthusiastic and bright and a little clumsy and completely, totally, vulnerably open. There's no guarding in Anna's voice. Kristen Bell removed every single wall, every protective layer, every hint of coolness or irony. Anna's voice is pure sincerity, and in a cynical world that is so hard to pull off without it feeling cheesy, Bell makes it feel real. And she can shift on a dime. Listen to Anna in Love is an Open Door. She's giddy, she's breathless, she's a girl experiencing her first crush. Now listen to Anna in the Ice Palace, confrontation with Elsa. She's desperate, she's frustrated, she's hurt, but she never, ever, ever loses the warmth. And then listen to Anna in the third verse of Do You Want to Build a Snowman? That voice is barely holding it together. It's the same instrument, the same vocal quality, but it's been through so much grief and loneliness that it's been worn smooth like a stone in a river. That is vocal storytelling at the highest level. Ah, yes. I love it so much. Now, Idina Menzel as Elsa. Everyone talks about Let It Go, and they should, because that performance is volcanic. But let me point you to the quieter moments. Listen to Elsa's voice in the coronation scene. It's tight. It's controlled. It's held in every word. It sounds like it's being measured and rationed, like she's only allowing herself to say the minimum. That is acting. That is a performer making a choice to restrain her own instrument. And Idina Menzel's instrument is one of the most powerful in Broadway history to show you what Elsa's fear sounds like. And then listen to the contrast when Elsa lets go. Not even let it go. The song, listen to the moment when Elsa accidentally reveals her powers at the coronation. Listen to her voice crack. Listen to the fear, and then listen to let it go, and hear how the restraint dissolves note by note, belt by belt, until she's soaring. The distance between coronation Elsa's voice and let it go Elsa's voice is the entire character arc in sound. And the scene that, well, it gets to me. The scene where Anna finds Elsa in the Ice Palace and Elsa says, "You should probably go." Listen to how she says it. It sounds almost casual, almost cold, but underneath that line, there are 15 years of wanting to say, "Please stay," and believing she can't. Idina Menzel puts all of that into 4 words. You should probably go. 4 words, and you hear a lifetime. As someone who does this for a living, who knows how hard it is to find the right emotional texture for a single line reading, what these 2 women did across an entire film is genuinely staggering. They made me believe in these sisters. They made the whole world believe. And the movie, well, it doesn't work without them. They are the heart and soul. And I want to give a shout out to the directing team here, and Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. Jennifer Lee wrote the screenplay, and she made the decision to change the ending. The original concept for Frozen was very different. Elsa was originally a villain, a straight up villain. She was like the Snow Queen antagonist, and Anna was going to defeat her. It was Jennifer Lee who said, no, what if they're sisters? What if the villain isn't Elsa? What if the villain is fear? What if the real battle is between 2 people who love each other but can't figure it out and they can't show it? That decision, that single creative decision, is the reason we're having this conversation right now, today. That's a decision that changed everything. And I think Jennifer Lee deserves to be in the conversation when we talk about the most important creative voices in Disney history, period. Okay, it is beautiful. Now, why this matters for the next generation. So here's the last thing I want to say, and I think it's the most important thing ever. There are kids who grew up on Frozen, not kids who saw it in theaters and then moved on. Kids who watched it every single day for months. Kids who memorized every word. Kids who wore the Elsa dress until it literally fell apart. Kids who sang Let It Go into hairbrushes, microphones, and pretended to shoot ice from their hand. It was a moment. It was a movement. Those kids are teenagers now. Some of them are in college, and Frozen was their foundational Disney movie. The same way The Little Mermaid or The Lion King was, the foundational for my generation, let's say. Okay, and I think about what messages those kids internalize, not consciously. Kids don't think about themes and motifs, but emotionally. They can feel it. What did Frozen teach them about love? It taught them that the most powerful act of love is sacrifice. It taught them that the person worth sacrificing yourself for might not be a romantic partner. It might be your sister, your brother, your best friend, your mother. It taught them that you don't need a prince to save you. It taught them that the bravest thing you can do is let people in, even when you're scared. It taught them that family, love, it's messy, it's complicated. Doors slamming, years of silence. Do you want to build a snowman? Family love is the strongest force there is. And it taught them that Disney believes that too. And it's important. Disney's a force. That's revolutionary. That's not just a good movie. That's a generation of kids who grew up with a fundamentally different understanding of what true love means. And those kids are going to grow up and make their own stories. And those stories are going to reflect what Frozen taught them. The ripple effect of this movie, it hasn't fully played out yet. We're still in them. We're still living in the world that Frozen built. It's kind of crazy. And I think that's the most magical thing of all. Not the ice, not the palace, not Let It Go, not the billion-dollar box office. The most magical thing about Frozen is that somewhere right now, a little kid is watching Anna throw herself in front of that sword. And that little kid is learning for the very first time in the deepest part of their heart that love isn't just romance. Love is showing up. Love is knocking on the door even when nobody answers. Love is choosing someone else's life over your own. Love is saying, I'm right out here for you. Just let me in. It's deep, right? That's the magic. That's always been the magic. Cool, right? I love it so much. All right, guys, here's the skinny of it all. I told you I was going to get emotional, and I did. As usual, I did not disappoint. My eyes, they've surprisingly held it together, but inside it's a mess. If you're watching this and you can see me, you know what's happening. There's no regrets. I get into it. Thank you so much for listening to me and for going on this deep dive. Frozen means so much to me, and I hope this episode helped you see it in a new way, or maybe it just validated what you already felt. Either way, I'm glad we did this together. Now, I want to hear from you. I want you to go down to the comments right now and tell me, what was your Disney that made you believe in Disney again moment? Was it Frozen, like me? Was it? Was it a different movie? Was it Coco? Was it Toy Story 3, 4? Was it Encanto? Was it Inside Out? Maybe it was a classic. Maybe it was Mufasa's Ghost in the Clouds, or Dumbo's mom rocking him through the cage bars. Whatever it was, whatever moment cracked your heart open and made you remember why animated storytelling matters, I want to hear about it. Tell me all about it in the comments. I read every single one, and it just helps me connect with you guys. And if this episode resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. I put out episodes like this, usually weekly, where I go deep on the characters, the music, the stories, and the animation that has shaped us. If you're someone who doesn't just watch animated movies, but feels them, like moi, this is your channel, this is your place, this is your vibe. Welcome home. I am here for you. If you want to support this show even more, share this episode with someone who loves Frozen. Share it with your sister. Share it with your brother. Share it with whoever your person is. The person you would throw yourself in front of a sword for. Tell them you love them, and then make them watch this video. Pretty please. I'm Lindsey, and this has been an episode of Listening with Lindsey. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Catch you later. Bye-bye. And oh, hey, do you want to build a snowman? It's still snowing outside, right? We'll see. Bye. Listening with Lindsey.